All right, hello to everybody. Today we're going to be talking about virtue ethics in general. Um, virtue ethics, unlike the other normative theories that we've talked about, teleological ethics and also deontological ethics, virtue ethics is not as focused on our actions. You know, both utilitarianism and Kant's deontology, for example, are focused on our actions. Utilitarianism is focused on the outcome of our actions, and deontological ethics is focused on the intention behind our actions. Virtue ethics is focused on something a little bit different. Virtue ethicists are focused on our character. So rather than being focused on what we should do, virtue ethicists are focused on how we should be. Aristotle's probably the most well-known virtue ethicist. However, there are a lot throughout history: Aquinas, Confucius, Anscombe, just to name some of the big names. So because virtue ethicists are focused on our character, they have an idea of what our character should or shouldn't be. Good characteristics they call virtues, and bad characteristics they call vices. Maybe you guys have heard of like the 7 deadly sins. We could think of those as like the 7 deadly vices. And the 7 deadly sins have their alternative virtues as well. You know, with greed, we have generosity. With laziness, we have productiveness. With envy, we have, well, I guess not envy, I don't know. Now, in order to know the virtues of a person, or in order to know what makes a person virtuous, we need to know, first of all, what makes a person a person. Because in order to know if a person is good or bad, we have to know what makes a person good or bad. Now, before we can identify virtues and vices, we need to know sort of what a person is, what makes up a person. You know, how would we define a humanity in general? Because without that definition, we wouldn't really know what makes a person good, right? What are the good characteristics of a person? Well, it depends on what a person is. So in this regard, a lot of virtue ethicists really disagree. They disagree about the fundamental nature of humanity. And that means they also therefore disagree about what makes a person virtuous and also what constitutes a vice. So what do you guys think? What are some good characteristics or good qualities for a person to have? What are some virtues? What are some vices? I look forward to hearing y'all's comments. In fact, virtue ethics, being concerned with the characteristics of or the qualities of a person, shouldn't be very surprising to us. Well, not that it shouldn't be surprising to us. I mean, unless you know like Greek and Latin and stuff. The word virtue is actually a Latin word that originally just meant excellent. And the word characteristic actually stems from a Greek word, which means to carve. So virtue ethicists are, you know, primarily concerned with making excellent character. And the way that you make that character is sort of by disciplining yourself, by making yourself take those actions that are excellent.